We're rolling.
That's how she syncs the sound. I have a lot of questions about that.
Okay, Matt, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. Welcome back to another edition of Coffee with the Mayor, where we keep Hillsboro caffeinated and updated. I'm Mayor Lou, and this is my trusty sidekick, Matt Stiles, City Administrator. Today, we've got really cool guests. We have Jeremy Ensey, the Director of the Central Kansas Entrepreneurship Center,
Correct.
and his CKEC sidekick, Gracie Kidd, or as we like to call her, Gracie the Kid. Although she's just about to get out of kid status and graduate and then get out into the real world.
Yes,
So welcome.
Right.
Thank you.
It's good to have you guys.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then where you're from, how you got into this particular gig that we're going to talk about, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Valley Center,
Okay.
not far from here, and actually came to Tabor College out of high school. So I was here for 2 years, then went to Wichita State for my nursing degree. So I spent about 30 years in the healthcare industry as a nurse and then administrator, CEO. And through that, my wife and I also have had some other business opportunities that we've been able to take advantage of. So we own the historic Elgin Hotel in Marion.
Okay.
Started a restaurant right before COVID.
Good
That was good or bad, right?
Yeah, good time,
right.
bro.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But through that and through other business experience, there was a position that opened at Tabor for the CKEC and part-time professor. And so I applied for that. I'm now in my second year at Tabor, both teaching and leading the Entrepreneurship Center at Tabor.
Well, great. It's good to have you here today, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
All right, Gracie.
Hey, well, I grew up in Galva. My whole life, went to Galva High School, all of that. And then I came straight to Tabor right out of high school, graduated in 2022, and then I graduate again this year from Tabor. So 3 years, and then I will be back hopefully for my master's.
Nice.
That's my plan. Jeremy came to Tabor my second year at Tabor, and I just got close with him, and then he asked me if I wanted to work for him. So I said, yeah, let's do it. And then I also work for them through the Elgin, the hotel that they own.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
And then I have a side business. It's called Pets and Porches. It's just a house sitting business that I've started with the help of CKEC. So
Fun.
yeah,
Very good.
What's your degree in?
business, entrepreneurship, and marketing, and then a minor in communications,
You want to get a master's in
leadership.
Leadership.
So an MBA, yeah, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We tell people all the time, we brag on Hillsboro's educational opportunities, but
Right.
literally without leaving the city limits of Hillsboro, in-person learning, you can start preschool all the way up through a master's level education degree right here in Hillsboro. And I don't think there are too many towns
Yeah.
our size in Kansas that can brag like that. So when we get a chance, we definitely like to brag.
And I think soon there'll be like daycare opportunities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming.
It's coming.
So
this
you can
summer.
start like
This summer.
at the very beginning.
That's
You
for
bet.
sure. You bet.
From birth. Crazy.
Yeah, actually,
Great.
actually, you bet. You bet. So before we get into this good conversation on CKEC, we're going to start off, which is just what we start off every episode with, the mayor's mugshots. And what that is you get the opportunity to tell us what's in your mug and a little bit about why you chose it, or anything you'd like to share about what's in your mug. So I'll start.
Okay.
And as most people that watch
Let me guess.
that watch this, I go with black coffee, or as I refer to it, coffee flavored coffee.
Yeah.
Today
Yeah.
happened to be the drip on tap was Bali Blue Moon, which really kind of sounded a little exotic
Yeah.
for black coffee, but I'm drinking some Bali Blue Moon. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, Matt, how about
Yeah,
you?
well, today is it's a little warm out, so I decided to go with something cold this week. So this is just iced black tea. So iced black tea, nothing in it, no sweetener, no nothing. Iced black tea. I'm kind of trying to follow your trend here, too.
Doesn't black tea have caffeine
It's got a
in
little
it?
bit of caffeine in it, but don't
Okay.
tell anybody.
Should we be scared?
Call me at like 9:30 tonight
Okay,
when I'm
all
bouncing
right.
off the walls. Yeah, you should be probably.
Well, you laugh, but he's my next door neighbor. If I hear banging coming from next door, that's Matt
That's it.
bouncing off the
Bouncing
walls,
off
right?
the walls.
Nice. All right, Gracie, what do you got? It looks pretty interesting. I have to tell
It is,
you.
yeah, it's called Morrison Comb. So in the top of it, he said it was like honeycomb kind of toffee. But yeah, every time I come to Rhubarb, I get something different. Last month they had the corn infused, so I got that, and it kind of just mixes up every time.
All right,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Well, in the mornings, my cup would be coffee black.
Okay.
But after several cups of that this morning, I went with the strawberry banana smoothie.
Oh, nice.
Feels healthy.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
It feels healthy. That's
Yeah.
good though.
That's what my grandson. That's kind of his go-to.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Andrew really does like
Yeah,
that.
he-
It's good, solid.
He's a solid smoothie guy,
It's fruit. It's got
Yeah,
fruit in it,
right.
so it's good.
right? A little protein in there somewhere.
Healthy.
And I did leave the whipped cream off of there.
Okay, all
You
right.
went in,
Yeah, we'll not take away your man card completely then. Okay,
I
very
appreciate
good.
that, Mayor.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So let's dive into all things CKEC, shall we?
Yes.
So would you mind taking the moment to tell us about what is CKEC, by the way, and how it came to be, what's the mission, and a little bit about the organization.
Right. So CKEC started before I started here. So it was in operation for a year. So we're in our third year. And really kind of the brainchild of Dr. David Jansen. So when he came back from Cal Poly has a very robust innovation and entrepreneurship center. So it started with a $90,000 USDA grant, and then also in partnership with the city.
Right.
And so that was kind of the start of it 3 years ago. CKEC is there to help those in the city or Tabor College students. And so in the last few months, I've worked with 6 different individuals this semester, whether it's starting a business or maybe they already have a business kind of up and going. And so we're there to help, whether they're in those early stages of, I have this idea and I need help kind of getting it off the ground, or I have a business and maybe need some additional help.
We at the city, as you said, have kind of seen that as a way for us to plug in directly to Tabor. Tabor and the city of Hillsboro are really integral in terms of who we are and how we identify ourselves. For well over 100 years, Hillsboro's been a city with a college, and I want us to be a college town.
That's right.
And
I like that.
that doesn't mean that we need a Mass Street or an Aggieville or anything. That's not an entertainment district. Isn't what that means. It just means that as a community and as a student body, we embrace each other and celebrate, the value that we bring to each other. CKEC is absolutely a way to do that. Hillsboro has been an entrepreneurial community. Our development over historical development to this day has been founded on entrepreneurship. I mean, when you think of businesses like Barkman Honey or Container Services, all these different businesses, those were not from somewhere else. Those were started right here and grown by local people and that had a vision.
Yeah. So thinking about that, taking it jumping off, I'm just curious in your experience how you've seen entrepreneurship, small business change. I mean, you've been an instructor now for 2 years, so I can't imagine you have a whole lot of opinions on being a teacher, but
Right.
And that education piece has changed too, because you had, your business-based education back not that long ago. Or...
Well, so my bachelor's is in nursing,
Okay.
but then finished my MBA
Okay.
about 15 plus years ago now.
Yeah.
But even just teaching the last 2 years, the amount that we're using AI now.
Oh yeah.
So for example, most of us have been on chat, at least now. So what chat can do for us, or the ideas it helps create.
Yeah.
So Gracie was in one of the classes where we write a business plan strictly using AI. They come up with their ideas, they have to write information out, but then we use AI to help tailor that business plan.
Mhm.
What about you, Gracie? You think what are I mean, you've got vast experience. You own a business. How's that change? I mean, COVID was like a watershed for a lot of things, but what's the changing environment for you look like?
I think I kind of have to piggyback off the chat. So before that, like before I even got familiar with chat, we were writing all of our stuff for DECA, which is a different organization or group at Tabor. And I wrote out the whole business plan and had it all. And then when I went and took the class with Jeremy, I already had the business plan written out, but I was able to put it into the program and use chat, and it just made it so much better, and also made it make sense to me, because I got into the business and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know where to start. So writing that paper, I was very like immature, didn't know what to do. So using chat and really just making it better and making it sound better, it was easier to make it make sense.
Yeah, kind of get polish. Well, that's what we use it for, or I use it for, I guess. Like polish things.
Yeah,
like I got all these ideas and I want to take it and collect it and organize my thought a little bit better, and it does a great job with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's still kind of scary to me.
It is a little scary. I agree.
Right?
Yeah, it's cool what it does, though.
Yeah,
it's neat to.
It's a good tool. I mean,
it's
a
a good
cool.
tool.
I don't, from an education standpoint, it kind of scares me too. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you know how to use it responsibly, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Where I first really got exposed to chat here about probably 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And, I've been using it ever since, and both in my role as mayor, but also in a business setting, I used it a lot. I was down having a quarterly business review with my best customer down in South Carolina last week. And I framed the presentation that I gave them using chat.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually celebrated 10 years of doing business together. And I asked chat to help me write a little speech about that. And man, it was
pretty good, right?
Yeah. And it was very, very insightful. I was pleased, I didn't have to tweak that much, because it doesn't know you completely.
It can sound like a robot,
right?
You don't really work. It gets you about 80% of the way there. That's what I tell people. So then you can kind of take from there.
But from an efficiency standpoint, it certainly helped.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
So Jeremy, what do you enjoy most about teaching at Tabor College? I mean, this is your first, I assume, teaching gig.
So actually my second teaching gig, I actually taught nursing at Pratt Community College. So that was kind of my first teaching gig, but it was more on the clinical side of things. So not necessarily, not classroom every day of the week. One, I love that Tabor is decidedly Christian. I think that's first and foremost in that. Able to share my faith. We're coming up on Good Friday and Easter weekend. Mm-hmm. And so in class today, I just was able to relay and be very free about, why are you guys off of school on Friday? Mm-hmm. And so we're able to have a little conversation about that. So, but the other thing I like about teaching is working with students and just being able to share some of the things I've learned, as you go through life and business and your wins and your failures. And you're able to share that with students and say, here's what I've seen that's actually worked for me, or here's what I did that didn't work out so well. And so you try to help them not repeat the same mistakes that you made in your business.
So how do you think your role as an educator has influenced your work with CKEC? How do they kind of mesh together? I'm
teaching everything from econ to entrepreneurship, small business management classes. And so I'm working with some of the students in CKEC that I'm also teaching. And so it helps once you build that relationship and they kind of know who you are, know your experience. then to be able to help guide them. And so you're building that trust through building relationships with them.
So what are some common things that you see? And Gracie, I'd love to get your opinion on this too, because you've started a business, like students starting a business. What are the common, like not necessarily pitfalls, but challenges that they run into?
So I guess I'll start and I'll let you go. So then I would say one that I hear repeatedly is kind of this fear of failure or fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Don't know how to do this, or I haven't done this. And so all these kind of fears that pop up. And so that's one of the things that I would say is a common theme that I see.
So how do you get them through that?
First, you just kind of walk them through the steps.
Okay.
So break it down into smaller pieces. It's kind of like, you know, how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? And so it's kind of the same thing, whether it's doing taxes for the first time, the articles of organization of your business, you know, how do you walk through those steps? How do you start an LLC? What does that look like? And everything, when you take everything in a whole, it looks like this huge elephant that where do I start, you know? And so I see one of my roles is just help break that down into smaller pieces, and so they can kind of see they're not trying to see all the way to the end, but let's just get through these first steps. Okay.
Gracie, what about you? What was the biggest challenge for you when you were starting?
I think he used me as an example while he was speaking. Those are like the failure, and I just want to see straight to the end. I want to see the end. And like definitely with taxes, that was a huge challenge. I didn't know what I was doing. I haven't even done my own. Like my mom still helps me with that. So just it was all of a sudden like everything's happening at once, and I was kind of freaking out. And so Jeremy was able to just lay it out and set it out, and then having him as like backup and helping, like working me through, I'm able to help work other people through it. But yeah, definitely failure is one of the biggest ones. And just where do you start? I had no idea where to start.
Great idea. Where do you go with that?
But where does it go? So
it's sort of like half psychologist, half hype man. It's kind of how that works.
I think that's any career though, right?
You kind of fake it till you make it. And, you know,
there's some psychology.
Sure,
imposter syndrome kicks in, right? Like, oh, I can do this, but you just kind of go with the flow.
Well, you know, part of it is just surviving. You know, I realize every day at my age just how I've never been alone in anything that I've done. You know, God's been with me, walking with me, and making sure that, you know, I have, even when I've stumbled and fallen, you know, He's helped pick me back up. So I never understood my dad until I became a dad. You know, and I think those of us that are fathers, you know, can definitely relate to that. So, but you know, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't listen to advice of people prior to that point.
Well, some people, you know, that you can give them a pearl of wisdom, but they gotta feel it. You know, they gotta figure it out and make that mistake for themselves. So.
You know, we may have brushed on this just in this last conversation, but what do you believe are the most important qualities for an entrepreneur?
I think from an entrepreneur, just asking yourself the question is, who are you there to help? And so with every business you start, you're helping somebody, something, somewhere along the way, but making sure that you're trying to solve a problem that other people want to solve. And so asking them that question as far as a starting point. So Pets and Porches, for example, is there someone out there who is looking for that solution? Is there a solution out there? So as Gracie did the Side Hustle Challenge, you know, she kind of dabbled in it a little bit. I know then you made a few posts.
And then it blew up.
So there were people out there actively seeking for the solution that Gracie had to offer. So kind of starting with that as far as a starting point with entrepreneurship.
So then it's how do you connect that those wants and needs with that solution?
Because you may have a great idea, but if no one is out there seeking your great idea, you're not going to go anywhere with that. And so then going through the process of trying to figure out who is out there that wants to solve the same problem that I'm out there trying to solve.
I know Gracie probably doesn't know who Zig Ziglar is, but he was
I take that no.
Zig Ziglar, yeah.
I use one of his taglines on my business emails, and it says simply this: you can get everything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want. And to me, what it says is servant. You be a servant, you serve. And I think you started out your comments with the word serve. And it's really what it's about, is the service that I give, a value. Do people find value in it? And can I deliver enough value to them that they want to continue to utilize that service, and other people, want to join in and take advantage of it as well.
Right.
So what advice would you give someone who wants to start a business, especially if you're going to start it in some place that's like a rural area like Hillsboro, because that's a different beast altogether. So what kind of advice? Where would you go with that?
So one, I think we always start kind of with the business plan, but we also at Tabor, one of the things I teach is a business model canvas, which is a lot simpler, kind of one pager, just to see, is there interest in my idea? And when you think about the rural area, for example, in one of my classes, we do Biz Cafe, which they're starting a coffee shop. And so we talk about that, the competition of coffee in Hillsboro. So here we are at Rhubarb. We all love their drinks. And so if you go to Tabor, there's also Starbucks.
There's Java J's.
Java J's.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's competition for coffee. So if you're looking in the rural community or small town, you always have to look at your competition. Sure. And you mentioned earlier how the internet has really opened things up as well. So are you more of a brick and mortar building, or are you looking to start a business that can, sell things out? Dr. Melinda Rangel just started selling a karate display rack through Amazon. She's averaging 4 racks a day that she's selling.
Wow. Okay.
Just started this. So if you're looking to start in the rural area, it doesn't mean you have to have a brick and mortar building.
Right.
There's so many other venues and avenues to go through to sell a product or to sell your service. So many service-based industries you can do on the internet now.
That's true.
You don't have to go meet in person. You can meet via Zoom, and then you can provide everything via the internet.
So good internet, I'm hearing,
Yeah.
is an important piece.
Yeah.
Do we have good internet?
We have wonderful.
That's what I thought.
The equivalent of Hillsboro receiving buried fiber to the premises network was comparable in the 1800s to the day the railroad arrived.
Yeah.
Commerce could come to your city, right? Towns that the railroad didn't come to, those are the ones that ended up dying away,
Right.
because they couldn't compete. And so, we are very fortunate in Hillsboro that we have that fiber to the prem network, that a company like TCT, saw the value of a partnership with us and invested between $8 and $9 million in Hillsboro. And now, as a result, we are primed. I mean, we have up to a gigabit worth of up and down speed, which will pretty much take care of just about anything that's going today. So, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we're primed.
Yeah.
We're primed. We're ready to go. So all those entrepreneurs, they can come to Hillsboro,
That's right.
start their business.
Right.
And just a little teaser, we've got a retail shop that we're opening as part of the thing, the Red Door Retail, coming soon. That'll be an opportunity for people like Gracie to promote their services or their products. So, I think we're all in on entrepreneurship here in Hillsboro. So it's the entrepreneurial capital of Kansas.
That's right.
New tagline.
New tagline.
Also coming soon.
Also coming to exactly entrepreneurial.
We call it prairie entrepreneurship.
Prairie entrepreneur. That's right.
Yeah.
We're also really in the prairie community. That's our thing, and it's true. Entrepreneurial capital of America.
That's right.
Now it's America. I'm just going bigger. Yeah.
So I think we're going to get ready now. We're going to set up here in just a second for a new game that our producer and resident genius Callie Arnold has come up with.
All right.
And it's called Business or Bluff, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So we're going to take just a second now to get set up, and then we'll be ready to go.
Ready? This is called Business or Bluff. So it goes like this. Each participant is going to read out loud a pitch from this eccentric business ideas. These are all eccentric business ideas. Once you read it out loud, the other participants will have 1 minute to deliberate and decide whether that business idea is a real startup or a fake one made up by our producer, Callie. The winner will receive the big fake check pictured here. Yeah, also it's endorsed by Mayor Lou. I don't know
There
if
you
should
go.
cash it.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. For the best bluff in the biz. So, like poker, this is a game where we are trying to keep a straight face, but you get extra points for being a convincing liar or a good business person, if that's the way you want to look at it. It doesn't really matter. So, who wants to go first?
I can start.
You want to go first, Lou?
Take a little
Excellent.
pressure off our guests, you know. All right, so we're gonna take this one.
All right.
All right, here we go. This is Dog, a high-class restaurant for dogs.
Not Doge.
Not
Okay.
Dog.
Not
This is
those.
Dog.
So, what do they serve at a high-class restaurant for dog?
Well, I'm glad you asked. They serve gourmet dog dining,
Okay.
which has raw meats that are shaped like roses, dehydrated lamb platters, rabbit ears,
Okay.
chewable buffalo horns, and all of this in a luxe French bistro setting.
A Lux French bistro.
A luxe
setting.
French
And
bistro.
so where is this located at?
San Francisco,
Yeah,
California.
that checks out. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Wait a second, you were just there.
Yeah, it was just
Is
there.
this the real thing? I mean,
See it.
I mean,
with
with that
your-
happening.
Was it Porches and Paws or Paws and Porches? You know, didn't that kind of, weren't you out there investigating those kind of things? I mean, this seems like a great,
This is kind of a great tag on.
great
Very
addition
well
to
done.
your business,
I
you
could.
know?
We could bring it to Hillsboro.
That's right.
Luxury French dog bistro. Okay. It's plausible. I'm going to say that's a real business.
I'm going business.
I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's founded by Rami Masarwe in 2015.
Okay.
Hours are Tuesday through Friday, 1:30 to 6,
Okay.
and Sunday, 11 to 4. So who wants to go next?
Jeremy, go for
I'll
it.
take one.
All right, here we go.
Take the one closest.
Get the cheaters out.
Yeah, I gotta read all this here.
Very professorial.
You know, he's kind of lucky because that kind of works on a medical level and also
That's
on a
true.
professorial level.
Yeah, no, that's very good. I think if you
Have to-
have like a,
You like that?
yeah, well, you need a corduroy jacket with the leather patches on it.
That's true.
That
and a
would
pipe.
sell it. A pipe.
A pipe, yeah.
Pipe. Or a white jacket. You can get a white jacket.
All right.
That was a short read, Jeremy.
Well, this is called Karaoke Confessionals.
Karaoke confessionals.
Karaoke Confessionals.
So what kind of business is that?
So it is karaoke where they are singing, but the lyrics are made up as a confession to something that this person has done.
Oh, okay.
Where's this at?
LA. Another
Yeah, check that too.
California.
Everything weird comes from California.
Yeah.
Weird.
So I assume that the lyrics are prepared ahead of time because they're probably not just making them up on the spot,
That would
I'm
be pretty
guessing.
impressive.
So as we talked, they actually use AI.
Mhm.
If I went in with an issue or something that this or a person has a problem, basically they put the problem in and then it puts the lyrics to a song.
Whatever
And you
tune
can-
that is.
Right, and you can choose whatever song you want and it puts the lyrics to that song.
Okay.
That's a good idea. That's
I think it's a good idea, but I feel like that was a Jeremy answer.
You feel like that's too Jeremy?
Jeremy
answer,
answered.
yeah,
I
Jeremy
think
answer.
the AI was.
This,
I don't think
that's
it's
what the
real.
tip was?
Yeah.
No, man.
I'm gonna go not
That's not a business.
not a business.
I'm gonna buck the trend. I'm saying it is a real business.
And so Matt is the one that is incorrect.
Ah. It feels like
Gotcha,
it could be
pal.
though. you
Gotcha.
know?
Man, I shouldn't have said AI.
I know you
The
better.
AI
think.
tipped her off.
Yeah.
Should have known better.
Went too far with it.
Oversold. Oversold.
I'll go next. I'll let Gracie go last.
Okay.
I feel like that's the right thing to do. So the name of this business is called Medium Rare Psychics. Medium Rare Psychics.
Rare psychics.
So
What kind of business? Why medium rare?
it's a Medium Rare Psychics is a steakhouse where they have psychic waiters. So it's based in Austin, Texas, and it's the waiters apparently will come to your table and guess or use their psychic ability to determine what you would want for your dinner. Austin, Texas.
Hmm.
Is this like a evening thing, or are they open?
Yeah, they're
all day?
open. No, it's just an evening thing. It's not a lunch deal. It's a fancy steakhouse. So from what I can tell, it's pretty fancy. I mean, if you had a psychic reading you while you were ordering your dinner,
Yeah.
you'd think it'd be pretty.
So did they give you more than just your order? I mean, when they're reading, can they tell you if they're like talking to your lost relative or something like that? If they're connecting, there or
Well, psychic readings are. They always kind of go in there and they feel like, well, you've got an adjacent female to you that loved apple pie, and so they'll bring you apple pie with that and say it's from Grandma Mema.
There you
whatever
go.
it was,
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying no.
I'm gonna have to go with the group on this one. No.
That's not
Yeah.
a real business.
Okay.
Medium Rare Psychics.
It's
It's
psychics.
Austin, Texas. It's a steakhouse.
Oh, that.
Totally feasible.
All right.
Yeah.
It just was
Gracie
in
the
Austin.
Kid, here we go.
Yours wasn't. What was yours?
Singing.
Singing.
Karaoke confessionals. Come on.
Right, yeah. So it's entertainment, which, around here, everyone needs to eat. Yeah. It's a good point.
And everybody
The
wants an
dog.
experience.
It's true. That is true. Everybody wants an experience. So if you really want to put it together, an experience is the way to go. Right. Well, how many times have you had that conversation with somebody? Like, where should we go eat?
There's your
That's the
solution.
hook right there. Psychic, medium rare psychics.
I always thought it would be appropriate to start a restaurant called I Don't Care.
I don't care. Yeah, right. Where
do you want to eat?
I don't care. All right. See if I can get a table.
Keep going.
This one's called Dirty Rotten Flowers.
Dirty
Rotten Flowers.
What kind of business?
So,
Dirty Rotten?
yes. What do they do?
So if you have like a bad breakup or a bad in-law, you can send them a dozen dirty roses or rotten roses to their house. Or if it's like Valentine's Day for next, you send them a shredded teddy bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like revenge flowers.
It's revenge flowers, yes.
Where is this business at?
This one's in Texas
Okay.
and online.
Texan.
Texas
Oh,
is a
online.
big state. Where
So they're
Texas?
based online?
It's based online though.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
online.
Well, revenge
All right.
best served everywhere. That makes
True
sense.
that. True that.
Yeah. So, like, what is their number one seller?
Their number one seller is gonna be like classic wilted blooms, just like a mix of wilted flowers.
Valentine's Day treat.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
hmm
Do they claim any kind of recycling, benefit out of this, that you're
Where do you
taking
see
stuff
it?
that would have gotten thrown away initially and repurposing it?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not something that we've thought about yet, but we just get them and we let them rot and then we send them out.
Oh,
So
okay.
we could think about doing that.
Might be an option to buy old Trader Joe flowers.
Right.
Or something, right? You get
Yeah.
one. However much I love the idea of this, because who hasn't want to send somebody something that, says how you really feel about that, right? I mean, everybody breaks up with somebody at some point, and so there's a don't know. Lou doesn't seem like he'd have that hard of feelings to send somebody dead flowers, but I would. I'm not for that.
Yeah.
I would totally do that.
Well, make the
I think
call.
I think that's a fake business.
I think it's real. I think it's real. I think
What was
that-
the name of this again?
Dirty rotten flower.
Dirty Rotten Flowers.
Too. If it's not, I'm gonna start it.
I keep thinking of that movie, Dirty Rotten Scoundrel.
Oh, I love
you know?
that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I'm gonna go real.
Yeah.
Also.
It's real.
Oh, no.
I definitely got nervous when you asked me where it was. Got that it said
Two-time
on
loser.
paper.
Wow.
Dang it! How did I got bluffed
Just
twice.
for that, I'm gonna be the
Oh.
everybody in those.
All right. So we're gonna present. All right, here we go, Gracie.
you.
There's
Thank you.
your award-winning million.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Don't spend it all in one place.
No.
Share the wealth.
We'll stop by Emprise.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, guys, Jeremy and Gracie, it's been a blast having you guys here today at Coffee with the Mayor. We always give everybody an opportunity to plug themselves or their business on social media, you know, whatever you got, social media, or how we can make connections with you outside of Coffee with the Mayor. So
Absolutely. So you can find us on both Instagram and Facebook. So it's Central Kansas Entrepreneurship Center.
Mhm.
So we are on. It is a mouthful. But
It
we are on both. You can email CKEC at tabor.edu.
Yeah.
Or if you come by Tabor College, you can definitely find me there at Tabor.
And where is your office located currently? Because I know it's going to change soon.
It is going to change. So we're having groundbreaking here April 30th, renovating the MJR. And so a new business and entrepreneurship center at Tabor College. So definitely very excited about that.
That is exciting.
Coming.
That's cool.
But currently kind of have two offices. We have an office on D Street, but you're going to find me most of the time at the Business Studies building with the other business professors.
But if somebody goes to the Welcome Center and asks for Jeremy, they can connect, right?
Absolutely.
Very
yes, sir,
good.
Mayor.
All right, super.
I'm Pets and Porches. I also have Facebook and Instagram, where I have a lot of relationships. I'm sure somebody knows me around here. So
So you just stand out on Main Street and holler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody will find you.
Yeah, somebody will find me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
but
enough.
Pets and Porches
Pets and Porches on
Yes.
Facebook and Instagram.
on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
I've got an exciting new announcement in terms of where you can connect with us. And Coffee with the Mayor, you can find on our Facebook page. You can also find on YouTube.
Mhm.
But now we are coming to Spotify. You can
All
pick up,
right.
and I mean, I feel like we made the big time. I mean, you know, because
we're living it.
I can watch New Heights on Spotify, you know,
Yeah.
and connect there. And so, wow.
We're just right there with those guys. It's pretty good.
Mayor Lou, Travis Kelsey, wow.
On Spotify.
Yeah,
On Spotify.
I think if you looked up New Heights, it would probably recommend.
Yeah, probably there. Yeah,
So
you bet. For new episodes, we're always Final Friday is the drop date. So the final Friday of this month is when you can see this episode. You know, find us out there on YouTube, you know, follow us, and, you know, pick us up on Spotify.
yeah.
Wow.
All right.
We're gonna have to, you know, what do they call the their followers on New Heights? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
But anyway, we'll have to figure that out and come up with something for Coffee with the Mayor. The 98%ers, yeah.
Senators.
So, Callie, we're gonna need something like that. You know, now that we're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Cool.
mugheads or something
Yeah.
like that.
Maybe so. Maybe
Mughead.
so. You know, Rush used to do the ditto head
That's
thing.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
so I guess we could be
Mughead's a thing though. It's
Yeah.
like a game. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
It
We'll
might
workshop that.
Yeah, we'll have to check out the trademarks and
We don't wanna
copyrights
get
and all
sued.
that.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I don't want to get
Very
sued.
good. Well, until then,
All right.
you know, stay caffeinated, and we'll keep you updated, Hillsboro. Thanks for watching. See you next time.